Now we would like to invite our chief guest, Mr. Garry Begg, member of the Legislative Assembly for Surrey, Guildford area, former RCMP officer. It is an honor and privilege to serve you as our chief guest on these special days. Just before you deliver your speech, we the Chin community would like to show our thanks and would like to give you a small present. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our honorable chief guest, Mr. Garry Begg.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much. It's my great pleasure to be with you today on this 71st Chin National Day. I bring greetings to you today from the Honorable John Horgan, the Premier of the province of British Columbia. It's wonderful to be here. I am tired actually from watching the dancers. They did a tremendous job. Let's give them another hand. I'm struck by the fact today that here we are in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. We could be anywhere in the world. We could be in Myanmar or in Burma, as it is referred to, because of the culture that is on display here. It is a deep and wonderful culture. And I want to talk for a moment about the opportunity that we all have now by virtue of our presence here in Canada. In Canada, we say that we survive not in spite of our diversity, but because of our diversity. For where else in the entire world could you be as free as you are today in this great country? I think many times we take our freedoms for granted. We take our democracy for granted. We forget that while we sit here in peace and comfort in a land of great opportunity, around the world there are many who are not as fortunate. There are many that don't know the democratic ideals. There are many that will go to bed tonight with hungry tummies because they don't have enough food. There are many that will not sleep gently because of their fear for their lives, for whatever reason. They may be fearful of war. They may be oppressed. And they may not have the rights that we do. So I say to you that it is important to us that as a community, as those persons of the Chin dynasty here in Canada, that you always remember your ideals, that you remember your culture, and know that we celebrate with you, that you can celebrate with us your culture and we will value it. We expect that you will bring your culture with you. We don't want you to leave it behind. We want you to make it a part of our fabric. When I speak, I often talk about the differences between Canada and the United States, because on the surface, many times you would think that we're very much the same. But in Canada, we believe in the equality of culture. In the United States, they believe in what they call the melting pot theory, which is that you bring all of your values and put them in this big pot and stir it around and you come out an American. In Canada, we say that you bring your cultures, you bring your values, you bring your traditions, and you bring your beliefs, and you practice them here. You make this a part of our country. That's what I prefer, and that's what I offer to you today. This absolute guarantee that in this great country that we call Canada, we value your culture, We value your participation. We value what you bring to us. Don't leave it behind. Don't think that because you're here, you can no longer have those values. Don't think that your culture becomes irrelevant because your children are now in Canada. Believe, as I believe, that your culture, your beliefs, your values can become part of the Canadian values. They are part of our Canadian values. Here in British Columbia, we have many blessings. We have great opportunity. We have many natural assets. I know that all of those values, all of those attributes, all of those assets have been built and are being built by successive generations of people not born in this country. And that's what makes it great. I too am an immigrant to this country. My ancestors are from distant shores. They too saw the light that is Canada. They decided that that was where they should make their home. Many of you made those same choices. Many of you decided with great hope that you would make that great journey and you would find a better life. And I hope you have. And I hope that that continues. But know that the values that you have, the creativity that you bring, the culture that is yours, is ours as well. Commit yourself to making sure that you, as you age, you will ensure that your children are aware of where they came from. Not who they came from, but where they came from. Make sure that they know that you have a culture that you want to celebrate. Make sure that the beautiful bamboo dance is always with us, that it is a part of our Canadian culture. Don't leave it behind. I was born and raised in Ontario, and I knew that the best thing that I could do as a Canadian was the most Canadian thing to do. Well, actually, I had two choices, I say. I knew that I could play in the National Hockey League, and if that wasn't possible, I could do the next most Canadian thing, which was become a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And I did that for 37 and a half years. The Toronto Maple Leafs don't know what they lost when they didn't draft me. That's a joke. There was no danger I was ever going to be drafted into the National Hockey League. But that to me was the epitome of Canada. Hockey, Mounties, freedom, a democracy, an ability to express my views, whatever they were. I challenge you today to remember that as you here celebrate the 71st anniversary of the Chim National Day. Remember your values. Celebrate your values as you've done and as you're doing here today. Challenge us to accept you. Challenge us to accept your culture as a part of our culture, because as will be demonstrated and has been demonstrated today, it is a wonderful culture and you should celebrate it. I know that many times it's difficult to be here and hear what's going on overseas, to hear what's happening in your homeland, to hear about strife and divergent opinions, particularly when it comes to the ways of government, particularly when some of your freedoms are in peril. Know that we in Canada support democracy everywhere. We believe in freedom. We believe in freedom of religion. We believe in freedom of expression. We believe in diversity. No matter how diverse your views may be, you are welcome here in this great country. Thank you again for having me here today. It's been a great pleasure for me, and I look forward to the rest of today's proceedings. Thank you very much.